I mean, we get people all the time like, oh, what kind of wood is that? We're like, oh, the entire frame is steel.
Yeah.
It's a really cool wood called metal.
I'm going.
Can I upcharge for that?
Yeah.
This episode of the Fabricator Podcast is brought to you by Nuts, Bolts, and Thingamajigs. Interested in a career in welding, CNC machining, or metal fabrication? Apply for scholarships through NBT to help fund your future in the skilled trades. Submit your application today for the fall 2023 semester. The deadline to apply is March 31st.
All right, hello. Welcome to the Fabricator Podcast. I'm Dan Davis, editor-in-chief of the Fabricator magazine, joined by Jim Gorzek
Hello.
and Garrett Slager.
Hello.
Thank you for being a little bit more enthusiastic.
Hi.
We're here to introduce part 2 of our interview and conversation with the DeVito brothers.
Yeah.
Of what's the name of their company?
iRcustom.
iRcustom.
Yeah.
Customs or custom?
I think it's just custom.
Custom.
Oh, he had
Yeah.
to change it because of an Instagram thing.
Yeah, he
Right.
does explain
Oh,
that. I
that's-
think
yeah, he
in
does
this
explain that.
second part, he explains that.
What's
Yeah.
that for segueing?
Yeah.
But before we jump into that, we were picking up a conversation related to some Mix-a-Lot that we were having earlier. What are we talking about? Not Jim Gorzek's mixtape from this weekend. We're talking about
That'll drop later.
his ownership of 2 Lincoln
Torchmate
plasma
Torchmates.
tables.
Yeah.
So, that popped up on Instagram where I think Lincoln kind of tagged him and showcased it.
Yeah.
He's involved in like making his own audio, his own cabinets for, I don't know whether he's doing home audio or like.
I did a search. I couldn't
Yeah,
find
there's
much
not a
about
lot.
his like manufacturing business, but
Yeah. I mean, I don't know
Lincoln,
if
he's
making
a
for friends or like just family members.
yeah.
But anyway, I would venture to say you'd be surprised by the amount of like recording artists that actually own their own plasma cutting tables.
Sure.
Because if you're especially if you're like into big music, like
Yeah.
Baby not only has back, but she has big boom. And you drive down a car, you want that giant subwoofer pop in the back seat.
You're finally
Yeah.
getting your Sir Mix-a-Lot references right, because I think
Yeah.
previous episode you
Yes.
Did that again?
who did you he referred
It should have been a scratch because, you
got it confused with a different
the
rapper.
artist in the song title. Yeah.
You said you like
Yeah.
big structures.
Oh, whatever.
Right.
My point being is that if you're going to have music with bass, you want something to kind of deliver that bass.
You want it solid.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure that's kind of like what he's into. He's like designing systems like he thinks delivers the power you need to listen to his greatest hits.
Yeah, I mean,
And who's to say he's not making more hits?
we've totally underestimated like the entrepreneurial. I can't even say
Yeah.
that word.
It's all right. We have
Sir
an
Mix-a-Lot being
operation
an
for that.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
When a guy writes a song about butts, you never know what to expect down the road from him.
No, and with that plasma table, you can probably
yeah,
cut
yeah.
big plate.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
he says he makes mountable aluminum cabinets for his projects.
Oh.
So
it's light and durable.
and he says the Torchmate is da bomb.
Of course it is. My favorite.
It's a rave review.
My favorite story at a recent Fab Tech was we're chatting with this this one guy from like a one-man shop, pretty serious fabricator, doing some prototyping, small art projects maybe, but kind of into it. Like he was a pretty sharp individual, and I made the point. I go, do you have a plasma table and do you kind of do signs on the side? And he looked at me, he's like, dude, I'm beyond signs. And the point was, it's like and at that moment, I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you see that, like a lot of people trying to launch their own business, kind of
Yes.
doing basic stuff.
Yeah.
I've actually got a interview with a guy coming up this week where he has taken he's using a laser, not necessarily a plasma cutter, to do signs but he's actually gone out and got the official licensing from like colleges, professional leagues, and he's doing 3D effects. So when you look at it, it kind of stands out.
motion look
He's got
to
some
it.
silk screening on there to provide some color. So it's kind of taking that next step. But the yin to that yang is I was at this street fair in Seattle during one vacation where I was not tortured or murdered by a person in a welding mask. And
or someone named Raphael.
So they have this guy with a collection of plasma cut, just random letters and numbers, like all these individual boxes, with the idea that somebody would buy them as some type of like art, crafty thing. Sure. They would bring it home. They got to sell them for like 50 cents, 25 cents a piece.
25 cents?
Yeah, I don't know. This is a while ago.
Oh, gotcha.
This is long enough to go. The presidents of the United States, the band was still relevant.
Oh,
so
they are still
this
relevant.
This is actually after there were 10 years past their relevancy back then.
This is well after Lump and Peaches.
Yeah, Lump. Yeah.
Oh, God bless the 2-string bass.
That album is a classic.
Right.
It is, dude.
Right.
It is. Little Dune Buggy song. That's
so. In other words,
Peaches?
he had not factored in the increase in price that he should
Probably
have been
not.
charged.
My point being is like people kind of use the technology for very basic stuff, and you have people who, in the hands of like know it, real fabricating skill, can actually do some incredible work that other people are reliant upon to bring products, assemblies, components to realization.
Well, we had the conversation with Adam Hefner a while ago, and he's not above making signs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's
like I appreciated the guy's commitment to not he wanted to kind of separate himself. But the flip side of that is, who didn't want a nice sign?
Right.
You know what? If I could have a giant plasma cut metal sign like "Live, Love, and Laughter" in my home,
Live, love,
You would have that.
live,
It'll
laugh,
make my
love.
heart
You didn't
grow
get the
warm.
order right.
if I don't have words on my wall to remind me how to have an outlook, I'm
do we need a
lost.
memory of that? No, we don't.
Yes, I do.
It's like the people who buy, kitchen art and it just says the word kitchen. That's not art.
Or exactly.
Yeah.
It in case they forgot where their
Yeah, right.
certain items
Yeah.
were in the kitchen.
Make sure you set
that's
the
where we
stove-
have the
yeah.
flour.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I came from a little bit more of a realistic house where my mom had this small sign that said, there are two options in this kitchen: when I'm making it and get out. That came as a dual set. The other one was like, I believe in many things, and I believe I'll have another beer. But that one's now in my garage because she had no place for that. So once again, words directing my outlook on life.
nice.
So anyway, let's go to the DeVito brothers conversation, and they'll
Part
have
2.
much more intelligent things to say about metal than probably we do.
Robbie got back.
This episode of the Fabricator Podcast is brought to you by FMA. Master the fundamentals of roll forming operations at the FMA World Class Roll Forming Certification course. Join us April 11th through 13th in Elgin, Illinois, for a specialized course to learn the history, terminology, and processes of roll forming. Register online today at fmamfg.org/events.
One of you make the comment in the story Raphael did about we don't want to be IKEA, which makes sense from a scope and volume standpoint, but also that like IKEA can make some stuff look pretty good until you're actually using it.
Don't get me wrong. I'd love to be IKEA, and I will never turn down that business. But yeah, I don't know. It might have been him that said it.
Probably
but,
me.
But
Rob, it was you.
oh, what?
Yeah.
Oops.
Let's
No,
source
but
it.
yeah.
No hashtag IKEA.
Yeah. But
Remove hashtag.
I think it's more of the we don't want to be the part where you have to struggle to put it together even.
Right.
We have things to where we're rolling in there and we're out in an hour. And people are like, why? But we've been there. We're trying to haul big pieces, big metal pieces, especially powder coated finished pieces. And nobody's got straight hallways. Nobody's got big doorways.
Right.
Everywhere you're going is tucked in. You got to make a couple turns. So we've gotten it all down to a science. So when we show up, we do kind of look like IKEA. I ain't gonna lie. It's a lot of bolts and a lot of pieces. And they're like, that's going to make my conference table. We're like, give us 30 minutes, okay?
I think the biggest difference is we're rolling in with solid walnut tops.
Yes.
Our fasteners,
Right.
our
Yeah.
smallest fasteners we use are 1/4 20. So like a lot of these bolts are 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch bolts, and these things are heavy.
Right.
Like I know what they sound like off the wall when I'm throwing them at him. They carry some weight.
I mean, I'd love to use MDF for cost purposes, but our
it's not
clientele is not gonna
Right.
accept
it's not a
that, you know?
quality product, and that's where the IKEA comes in. And I think when we make that comment, it comes from moving out of my house one time, and we're carrying one of those bookshelves. It was a split level, and we're carrying it up this short set of steps, and it just folds.
Yeah.
Whole thing folds in half, snaps
You
in half.
didn't have
It
all
opens,
the shelves in when you moved it, you know, so it's not rigid anymore.
Yeah.
but then it cracks open, and you're like, I don't even know what the middle of this is. Like, I get it's like some cardboard composite sort of.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have that with us. You might
I'll never
dent
be
the
able
wood,
to hand it down to my children.
No, yeah, it's not an heirloom piece. That is for sure.
but our stuff's gonna be around longer than we are. 'cause
Yeah. That is for sure.
So let's talk about some of your pieces.
Yeah,
What got you started in terms of people calling back, you think, in what areas? And
you know, I think it's one of those things where I'm always trying to find that
yeah.
niche where it's like, what is getting the most response? Because obviously we do a lot of tube work.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
it's
right.
highly prominent. It's a lot of tube work. The only reason that we've kind of shied away from staying strictly tube work is because the shipping, the installation, and everything. It's hard to break down.
Yeah.
At least you're gonna have two pieces that are kind of awkwardly shaped. But we ship most things complete anyways, so you'll get them, and they can still break down. But we've kind of ventured into a lot more hardware and things that are made out of sheet goods that'll break down into smaller pieces so you can ship it. You know, you can make things very shippable. We've even ventured into some things that are strictly CNC where it's slot together, no hardware. You know, we're always trying to find that niche, but honestly, our best luck has been in the desk space with the tubular desks,
Right.
pop colors, and just solid materials.
That was
Mostly-
the colors was another thing.
Yeah, that's it stands out.
I'm watching you scroll through this, and I'm like, this is like scrolling through his head. It's a bad place to be.
Yeah, scroll through my render.
It is
folder,
funny though. Like
it's bad.
I'm seeing a couple of the pieces scroll by, and it's one of those things that sometimes a website or an Instagram is really hard to relay like what it is. Like a couple of those pieces are designed out of 1/2-inch milled aluminum, 6061 aluminum. So like
Yeah.
people call and they're like, you know, they want a quote and things. Those are very expensive pieces
you have
because
to break it down a little predisposition.
Like-
and it's like,
Right.
okay, let me
Yeah.
explain something really quick.
Right.
and then a lot of these black tops that you see now,
Yeah, that's-
we've started using Rich Light, which is a compressed paper and resin product. It's very earth friendly as well, but it's made out in Washington area. And the reason we even went into that was people kept asking us for black wood top desks.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know how much you guys have done in woodwork, but once you put stain on something, once you damage it, have fun.
And
It's-
especially black. You got to refinish it. There's
Yeah.
no touch up there.
and black
you know.
never looks black. We have put more dye,
It'll
more
be dark
types of
brown
dye.
all day. you
And
know?
it absorbs different colors, and it's like if you want. So we went out and found a product that's black.
And yeah, that Rich Light is actually developed by the same company that does the skate park ramps. So all the skate park ramp material, that's their brown version. Basically, it would be the skate park ramps.
Oh, okay.
And they have a black version that I was like, okay. And we found people are using for countertops.
No kidding.
It's very durable, and it's sent to you in 4x8 sheets. Very simple to work with. It
Perfect.
mills very easily. I think it was NYC CNC that had the video of him milling it. He was milling it. He was making like a
Really?
cigar holder out of it, and apparently it's very easy to
So
mill.
yeah,
it's like heat resistant then? I mean,
Yeah,
it won't-
I believe.
Oh, yeah.
it
If
stands
he's
up all
milling
the
it,
time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we
Just
make
different
we make
countertops.
coasters and things out of it.
Yeah,
small,
we've been experimenting with a bunch of
different
those
kind of
stuff.
things that we've been.
You know, looking at the website, before your visit, one of the things I noticed is the new modular desks.
Mhm.
That wasn't on there.
No,
2 months
that's
ago,
a
I
pretty
think.
new one. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, how is that being received?
It's
I mean,
going well,
it's-
but even, I think with everybody starting to get back into the workplace, it's kind
Right.
of one of those things where we were hoping to maybe be a little bit ahead of the curve with that, where when people are looking to do it, and they're
Right.
like, okay, well, we're going to start getting some people back in. Let's see what we got to do. Because that definitely fell off with the whole
Yes.
COVID situation.
Right.
But we thought, we can make something that's a little bit different. Like I said, our stuff's very angular, the whole nine.
Right, that.
But it's one of those things where it easily breaks down. It's still very durable. It's made out of high quality materials as opposed to the cheaper stuff there's benching companies out there that I guess they consider that benching.
Okay.
But where it's multiple employees that can sit face to face or whatever. And we see it when we go into places, for conference table installs. And we're like, that's a great market. Maybe
Right.
we should look into it. So, we're always trying to stay another step up. If you stay still, people are going to run past you. So
Right.
we always try to stay moving.
Did you guys do work for Tesla?
No, we thought that was a good clickbait one. He actually wanted me to take it another step further and put Twitter on there.
I wanted
And
to.
I was like,
I wanted
well, I
to
don't know
go
if I
full
can do
pressure
that.
blitz on this,
Yeah, 'cause
and
that
like
was that whole
Twitter
time.
bringing people back in the offices, and there that was actually quite a heated debate because we're gonna get some heat for this, like.
You know,
And
we
it's
kinda
happened.
just-
It's happened to us in the past with a couple like small different makers and things, like just saying the wrong thing or
sometimes
just
heat is good
pushing
heat, though.
somebody
You
the
never
wrong
know.
way.
Can you tell us one of those tales without naming the person?
Was it
who
my comment war?
Yeah, he got in a full-on Instagram comment war with a like semi-popular, probably mid-grade Instagrammer at the time.
He's not a maker. He's a dealer.
Yeah, mostly he kind of advertised himself as a woodworker. He did a lot of epoxy work, so it was like,
Oh, that.
yeah.
There's a lot of them. So
Rob,
I'm
No,
not
it's like a
narrowing
thing
down.
now, right?
No, but I said something. I forget what I said. I think it was like one of these silly little epoxy scraper like metal things.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I'll take my Festool 150 to that all day and be done in 2 seconds, you know. And I got run over by this guy's followers.
this guy.
And then I, of course, can't sit still. I have
Oh,
to
he
feed
just
into it a
kept
little bit.
instigating
Yeah.
him, and then we were getting DMs from these people like, you don't know what you're doing. We're like, fine. And then he like instead of just letting it roll off, right? Like, fine, I'll challenge you. Bring your scraper.
I couldn't let it go.
It escalated. We were having this discussion before. There's a point in your life you
got
get to like
followers, though.
stop
Yeah.
picking fights. Like just
Yeah.
stop.
And we weren't
Yeah.
even talking. That was physical world, not even the
Yeah,
online
this
world.
is-
I don't.
yeah.
I think
I'm more afraid of that.
to be totally honest, I think the
Yeah.
online world's worse.
Yeah.
Because
They're ruthless.
everybody's got a bone to pick and nobody's afraid. If I'm saying face to face, oh, you gonna say that to me?
Yeah.
You really gonna
Yeah,
say
there's
that right
only
now?
one person.
No,
I don't want
no.
1,000 people telling me I'm
Yeah.
a dip. Or
Honestly, though, I used to feel the same way. Now I'm like, whatever. Drive comments is cool. Like,
bro,
100%. I'm like, if you hate
is
it,
that
you
like
love it,
is that
whatever.
what Zen is? I'm not even sure.
yeah.
I
don't know.
I just try not. If I have to, I'll read them. I get a kick out of them. I ain't gonna lie. But you know, like if people are in there, I saw one guy I follow on Instagram. I'm like, that's a great idea. Even when you post, they now spam your comments and like promote it on, da 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 da, send it on,
Oh,
and he just responds to all of them saying like, yeah, man, I'll send it for sure. And the next one, he's like, I'm all over it. Thanks, man. I'll send it. I'm like driving his comment count. I'd be doing the same thing.
And we're sitting here doing a podcast, and I'm like, social media is a weird world. It's just like it's strange because you never know what you never know who you're gonna get, what you're gonna get, where it's gonna come from. And we've gotten it from both sides. People all of a sudden like, oh, I love your work. Like, you know, you guys inspire me to do this and that. And then we get some people like, you guys are, yeah, I've heard that a lot in my life too.
Or you get the, hey, can I get the blueprint for that? And you're like, no. Like, no, why would I give that to you?
that I think that's one of my favorites. Like, hey, can I make that?
Or can you send me a 3D model? I'm like, no.
Can you make it? Yes.
wanna
Would we
make-
prefer you not to? Of course. If you're making it for someone, please have them call us.
And that is a
Yeah.
weird thing that we fell into, people building our designs. You know, I've always said if you can build it, more power to you, because we know what goes into it. But we had people for a long time that would steal the photos and put their logos over it.
How have you battled that?
Yeah.
You don't. I battled it for years, and it actually basically may have caused us to lose our Instagram about, 8 months ago?
About a year ago. No,
Yeah.
I mean, we were up to 35-ish thousand
Yeah.
followers, and Instagram just like
No
turned
warning,
it off
no
one day.
nothing, just locked us out of it.
And that was it.
Wow.
So we had to restart. So if you notice, our Instagram handle has an S where none of our other things do. And that's the whole reason, because we did have
Yeah.
iRcustom. And
Yeah.
hey, Instagram.
Yeah.
I
No
wonder where it
customer
went.
support.
Anytime.
Now we know where it went.
Yeah, well, that we have a lot of people that were like, we were wondering what happened to you guys, and we're
Yeah,
like, yeah, us too.
yeah.
Sorry. Like, and the problem was, it was our main reach for all of our
Right.
clients.
Yeah.
You know, that was the main portal, and it was like no explanation, no nothing. Just you walk in one morning, and you can't log in.
Did
I'm
you
like-
didn't even get an explanation?
No,
Never tried to reach
well,
out?
the thing is, it happened once. No idea what happened. I emailed everybody. Facebook owns Instagram. They say,
Right.
but they can't help you. I went through. I mean, we pay advertising through them. You'd think
Yeah.
there'd be some assistance. You
Right,
know?
right.
No help. They're like, Instagram ain't us. Sorry. I'm like, okay. So we waited, and all of a sudden it popped back up a few weeks later. And we were like, okay, it's back. I'm like, did we find out why? You know, no, never got an answer, never got anything. And then it happened again.
About 2 months later, 3 months later.
And now it's been permanent, and they have no answer. They have an appeals is what they have. And your appeals go to some email address, and that's about it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
Wow.
our biggest lesson from that was don't lean on one platform.
Yeah.
You know, like Pinterest, it's great to have it
Right.
because it's a backup. But I mean, we leaned heavy on Instagram. And when that went down, it was like,
Yeah.
we get a number of people still a year later like, oh, I just found your guys' stuff again. Oh, it just popped up in my feed again. We're like,
luckily our stuff does stand out. So when someone sees it, they're like,
Right.
oh, I remember that.
Memorable.
You know?
Did that really affect business?
oh yeah,
It's
for
substantially.
sure.
Yeah.
It definitely did and if you look at the inquiry number, that was
the biggest.
definitely even
the
worse.
The inquiries is, I mean, we feed on inquiries. You know, you have to sell the client at the end of the day. They're coming to us with, that's cool. I think that would be cool. You know, let's see what they can do. And then you kind of have to sell them. If you're not selling them on it and you have no back and forth, you have no contact, it's hard for somebody to see a picture and be like, I want that.
Right.
You know, we had other builders contacting us and being like, hey, I had a client reach out because they couldn't find you guys. You know, and they wanted me to build your piece. And I'm like, can't hate on them. You know, I'm like, take the money. I do it too. You know?
Explaining our pieces is difficult in some aspects because, like, when you see metal, that's powder coated steel. But the majority of people, if you're looking at a picture, you don't really know what you're looking at. A lot of our desks, like, you're like, oh, is that all wood? I mean, we get people all the time like, oh, what kind of wood is that? We're like, oh, the entire frame is steel.
Yeah.
It's a really cool wood called metal.
I'm going.
Can I upcharge for that?
Yeah. Watch, it's heavy.
I think we're bringing him with, and we're just gonna go to the t-shirt shop and have like 100 of every
Just put
line
saying, you guys
printed
have
on.
merch yet? You doing merch?
Well, we have
We have
stickers.
stickers.
There you go.
You gotta start small.
There you go. Perfect.
I was gonna say we got a couple
to get
good,
his sayings
we got a
on
couple
there.
good t-shirt guys in the area actually.
So you powder coating, y'all have a good relationship locally with
We
Now?
we've been through a few. You know, I mean, like we always say, anything you outsource, they don't care as much as you do.
Right.
And powder coating is definitely an industrial coating at
Right.
the end of the day.
And you're not sending them like a truckload. You
No,
know,
exactly. So
that-
they understand they're getting weird stuff from us. You know,
Yeah.
they're like, how do I hang this? How do I do that?
Yeah.
You know,
We've-
and we've been through a few. We found good and bad with big powder coaters, good and bad with small powder coaters. Now we've just brought in a decent size oven. So now we're doing anything that's under.
I think under about 4 feet right now we coat in house.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Okay.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It
Con-
got a
control-
little
Batch set
Control
up.
freaks.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
We picked up an oven off Craigslist from up in Wisconsin. That was a good size. The guy did rims in it, I think. So, you know, it's a good size because we looked at it and
I
of
don't even
course he
remember.
goes to, hey, can we build one of these? And I'm like, no, no. He's like, you want to draw that thing up? I'm like, nah.
And they're not at Home Depot.
Yeah, I'm
No,
like, by the time we buy that material at this point,
Yeah.
you could have bought 3 of those things. So let's go buy that and see if it's worth anything. you
I had
know?
found a really good deal on a Jima powder, a box feed setup.
Okay.
And I'm like, you want to go with me? He goes, where are you going? I go, I got to get like up north of Green Bay.
So what
He's
was
like,
that?
you're going on your own.
Yeah, I wasn't going for that.
So
ride.
that was a full day haul, buying equipment, making equipment over the years, we have ended up in some strange places.
Met some funny people.
That one, I ended up in a trailer park community in northern Wisconsin. So I'm like looking at this guy like,
Why
so
you got this?
right, well, that was my question. I'm like, I don't want to.
Don't the local police department set up
Right.
these spaces for these type of
They're
people?
outside there already.
That was kind of my fear to a degree. Like, so how hot is this? Like, can I like post that we own this, or like is
Like
this kind
serial
of on the
numbers
DL
off this?
permanently?
It's like, do you have the cash? Yeah, we haven't even talked to price yet.
Have anything?
Yeah, it was weird. It came out of a very strange building, but it turned out the guy that had it worked for a gigantic corporation there that does railings and mezzanines and just massive powder coating structures. So,
And
you
one
know,
fell off the truck. That
no, like
I'll
when-
accept
when
that
they,
as an answer.
but this one actually was more legitimate in the fact that they upgrade that equipment regularly. So you know, if they don't trade it in, one of the guys that works there, you know, kind of gets it inexpensively to use for themselves at home. And he was moving out of state, and we've scored deals on equipment that like people still don't believe us to this day. We could probably hold a whole show on that.
Yeah.
They're like, you got it from who? What?
Yeah.
Well, we love the equipment auctions. That was like our beginning,
yeah.
you know. And when we did the printing industry, that's how we found printing equipment was the auction. So you'd meet all the crazy people. We'd be driving with trailers to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But it was great resale. We still jokingly say when times are slow and we're reselling like old stuff, we're like, should we just go back to reselling equipment? Like, say screw all this. Yeah.
It's almost like that gig economy. Instead of selling
Right.
shoes, you know.
Exactly. It's the same thing.
Actually, you probably get a nice pair you're wearing right there.
They're not my work shoes yet. That's the key. They haven't been in the shop
So
yet.
it's funny you bring this up. So I'm visiting a shop late 2022. These guys have 7 buildings. I'm guessing they probably do like $200 million a year. They love the same thing. They'll drive.
That's dangerous to have that much space.
They're the big place north of Rockford where they made the train, the commuter trains. Do you remember that shut down?
Yes.
There's a Chinese company that came in.
Oh, yeah,
They're
yeah.
going to make these commuter cars. Huge building. Thing only lasts, 2 years at most?
Yeah.
So these guys went to they left in just
Wasn't that in the
truckloads of like
Milwaukee area?
clamps, just all the small stuff. Just-
That we love that stuff, the auctions, the stuff that people look over, like the bin of miscellaneous. You're like,
Yeah.
what's the miscellaneous?
I think you're onto something.
Yeah, well,
No, you're not. You're
we
not.
got rid of all of it. We've thinned out the herd. Finally,
Oh my
but
god!
yeah.
It definitely got out of control because there was a point where we would be like pallet racking and contents.
Yeah, contents.
We'll take it.
Contents. Or room and contents
or
was
the-
always another one.
The worst was when they used to have actual in-person auctions,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
we would go there and like we learned from this one guy early on. He goes, "Yeah, just wait till the end of the auction when the auctioneer." He goes, "They bid up their own stuff all the time." So we found out this is a super common practice in the auction world. Like their own guys are in the back of the room bidding it up against the bidders, and I'm like, "You scumbags!" So we found out like sometimes they're stuck with this stuff at the end. It's like, how bad do you want to get out?
Yeah, they would
We
try
got
to
a truck.
force stuff on us. Sometimes we were leaving with an empty trailer. They're like, "You guys still want that?" And we're like, "No, we're good, thank you."
We'd
I
end
don't
up
want to
with
carry that thing.
we'd
I'm
end up with
good.
free stuff. Oh, we ended up with a homemade lathe one time that was made out of a 24-inch I-beam. It was so heavy. We looked at each other. We're like, "What did we do?" I think it actually went straight to the scrapyard. We're like, "This thing's a piece of junk and it weighs like
That was
8,000 pounds."
pre-forklift days too. Yeah, yeah.
I think I broke my back on that
Yeah.
one.
Work
That's
smarter, not harder. Right? Yeah.
T-shirts once again.
There you go.
I'm about to go grab couple machines on the way home. One of the biggest manufacturers of printing machines is actually over in Glenview, so I'll just
There you go.
Right there.
swing through.
Side business, right?
So is that part of it, like something that's going on now? You're
Absolutely not. That's him having his high dreams.
No, what's funny is in the beginning when we talked about like potentially doing merch, we're like, should we keep the printing equipment around? And we're like, we
I don't wanna
can't
do it.
even get through what we're doing on a daily
Yeah.
basis. Hey, let's have 6 companies. There's 2 of us.
right.
I'll tell you what, though, diversify, and I'd love to. Hands off.
Yeah.
Then you got to find good people, and that's
That's
not
the most
easy.
difficult. Yeah.
So there's such thing as like silk screening stuff, and that's a totally different business model from what you currently do in terms of like high end, hands on, special.
That's what
Absolutely.
we owned all of it.
We
No,
literally
really? Okay.
we literally went opposite of what it was because we saw silk screening, the screen printing market was literally who can do it cheapest.
Mm-hmm.
They will find the guy in his garage that'll print you cheap. They don't care what they look like. They got to be used once for their family occasion. That's
Right.
it. We were like, all right, how do we do the opposite? Is I guess basically what we came to, and we're like, we'll do one off, completely custom, and pain in the butt to build.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So basically,
We
it's
tried.
what
We
it-
kind of did that in shirts for a while, though. We
Yeah.
tried to make like designer shirts and then be different. Then we were
Yeah.
like, this is like
that mid
Dumb.
2010 era where everybody wanted to have a clothing company. You
Yeah.
know, every graphic designer like myself was like, I could do this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm glad I fell where I fell.
Yeah. So, do desks make up like what percentage of your build does that make up?
Desks are biggest portion by far. Conference tables, you know, they're obviously a smaller market.
Right.
At the end of the day on those desks picked up actually during COVID because you needed a home desk. A lot of people
Yeah.
had Zoom meetings. You know.
I would say our overall business is probably 75% desks.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
The only thing about our desk that is different, and we have a discussion about this all the time, most of the things you see designed and most of our, since they're executive desks that we deliver, are like 7 foot by 3 foot.
Yeah.
So they're big. But a lot of people call all the time like, can I get that in like 5 foot?
Yeah.
We're like,
Shrinking it's tough.
Yeah.
Sometimes shrinking the designs is tough because, especially when you're building out a 4x4 and 2x6. Well, now your desktop, if it's on the outside, is only like 4 feet.
Yeah.
And
You lose a lot of the geometry, honestly, and that's one of those weird things.
I was just going to do that. Is it air round? Is that how you, that
Yeah, that
table
one was,
with
the
rich light?
aluminum one.
Yeah, it looks like, do you see opportunity there for restaurants and just like that?
There's we're always trying to find
competitive, I
We're
would
always
think?
trying to find the opportunity. What we found with restaurants is if you find the right restaurant, you're good. Usually they're budget tight, which is understandable.
Okay.
They're not going to throw a bunch of money into their seating because it's going to get beat up the whole nine.
restaurant margins are brutal. That is a
And they're
difficult business.
We've done a story on a couple of these places where they outsource the whole thing.
Yes.
Like the design of the whole place.
I think we've done a desk for a company that designs the interiors of like PF Chang's and all the.
So
things
yeah,
that
they
go
may
in.
be outsourcing.
Right.
So
Exactly,
maybe that
and
that makes sense.
they have everything in order. Like this is who we work with. This is what we do. It's like, can I get in there? I'll build some of those tables.
It's always an interesting dynamic when you deal with like designers and people that are like put in charge of sourcing things.
Yeah.
And our weirdest thing is we do too many things, and we've tried to slimline that over the years. Because when we first started, we were like, "Yep, we can make it."
Yeah.
No, we can't.
Well, it's that a lot. Yeah.
And in fact, I saw you scroll by some tables, walnut tables that we recently did for it's actually like a speakeasy type place. It's not too far. It's in the northern suburbs. But when they first built it out, it's a huge sports bar upstairs, and the owner wanted a bar rail. What's it? 150 feet.
Yeah.
It's made out of C-channel on 3x3 posts, and it goes like there's like 4 lines of it, and then there's a maple bottom, and it's epoxy filled on that. We're like, yeah, we can do that.
No clue. Zero idea. The fake it till you make it part where you just walk in and just be confident. It was like, yeah, sure. Say it with a straight face.
Yeah, we're welding on site. We're like, so we're gonna like. We're not on-site guys either. Like we prefer to work in the shop, and then we'll come deliver it. We're good with that, but we prefer to have it all done. So we're in there, and like there's guys doing sheetrock and flooring and everything else. And we're like, we're gonna come in at like midnight and weld this.
Yeah.
When no one else is here.
We don't want to get in their way.
Yeah, we don't want their dust in our epoxy.
That was always the excuse. We want to stay out of their way, and it's the best for everyone. So we'd like be in there at like 2 a.m. pouring epoxy with blow torches to get the air bubbles out, and we're like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that place was a great opportunity for us. It was actually an old bowling alley that they made into a restaurant. This was back in the day when we had the bright idea to build things with bowling alley tops.
Oh, that was the weirdest deal we've ever made in our lives.
Yeah,
I made a deal to buy all of the lanes because we were going to reuse them.
All the wood,
all the wood out of the bowling alley. So we
Bowling
bought
alley
12
finish, painted
bowling
about
alley
that.
lanes. I don't know what we thought we were going to make
That's
with
not a turkey.
thousands
That's 12
of feet
in
of
a row.
bowling alley. So we're hauling this out, and the new owner's like, you guys are hard workers. We're like, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to make of this, right? Like, kind of like,
We
thank
like
you.
to work harder.
Yeah,
not
like that.
smarter.
Yeah, like
that was back in the day. When
literally,
we were
like
doing,
I don't know if this
brute
is a compliment or a backhanded compliment, or you're just calling me an idiot. I don't know.
force. You guys are idiots.
So we make a deal that we take a bunch of these lanes and make tables for the restaurant that they're putting in there.
The very same
The
location.
same
So the
exact
bowling alley
location.
lanes that came out went back in
So
there.
we
as
haul
tables.
all these things back to our
makes
shop,
sense.
cut them
Smart.
down, refinish them, and bring them back to these guys
Yeah.
as
Awesome.
tables.
We could always do that. It'd be a great business model.
Yeah.
But bowling alley, as cool as it looks, never want to sand that stuff again in my life. So many nails. Can't cut it. Can't do anything.
It's hard as a rock.
Plus, when
There's
the drapes are on the
700.
table, don't they curve at the end?
Only if you oil them
we
right.
de-oiled the lanes first. That way you didn't get that nice
Oh, you didn't-
slide.
Yeah, I had to sand that off. That was terrible.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was like
Yes.
60 years
60
of oil.
years of.
It was terrible.
And then bowling lanes are essentially a big butcher block, but there's no glue in them.
yeah.
They're
fall
all
apart.
just cross nailed.
Mhm.
And there's these huge nails through each one. So when you want to size them,
You're cutting
goodbye
through.
saw blades. Just, you see teeth flying off the blades.
So
We
how
were so
thick
dumb, we
is
thought
it?
was normal.
How thick is that floor?
It's not as thick as you think. I
About
think
2
it's
inches.
2 1/4, 2 inches
Still,
about.
but yeah.
Oh, it's beefy. That's why we ended up with a Festival TS75 because we needed something that was big enough to cut it.
Cut.
And we're like, hey, we bought a good saw. That was the only thing that was big enough to cut it. That's how we fell into Festival tools, honestly, was sanding the bowling alley. I'm like, I need a better sander. We got a Rotex. We needed a bigger saw, so we got their TS75 track. And that thing's been with us for a while. And we beat the crap out of both of those.
Well, I mean, it's even like the plasma table. Like he said, we had this like cheap garbage handheld plasma cutter. You know what? For home hobbyists and you just need to cut some things, they cut.
Yeah.
They work. They do. But then we upgraded to a Hypertherm 105, and we're just like,
Yeah, it cuts through like butter, you know. But when you have the tools, it's nice.
Yeah.
But that's when we get into starting to make our own tools. Like our
Right.
CNC plasma table, we're having to pull the slats and make underneath tables to cut 4x4 tube on it. No, we're geniuses. Just
Reinvent the wheel, right?
we're gonna raise this whole thing up, redo the gantry, make it turn like.
I will say that
It
3D
works.
printer
Wow.
gives me great and terrible ideas.
Yeah.
Because you look at things, you're like, I could do that. And you're like, probably shouldn't do that. But I mean, it's honestly made some of our CNCs better. Our CNC plasma, actually the head on it, the moving head, the touch off torch and everything, it's all 3D printed.
Yeah.
And I can upgrade it. I have everything in the files if I need a new one, if something breaks. Our CNC milling machine, I was dumb enough to think I could 3D print a head mount. Yeah, well, you find out as soon as that thing gets a little torque on that head, that thing snaps real quick.
Right.
But he already had all the specs, so now just mill it out of a block of billet aluminum,
Yeah.
and you're good to
It all
go.
fit, everything was good, you know. So that you get the good and bad.
Yeah.
You know, it brings on a lot of hobbies. Honestly, the 3D printing was probably the biggest step for me.
Yeah.
Where you get into being able to build something.
Right.
You know, because you go from having ideas and all that, and
Right.
you go from that point to like, oh, I can have this in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy. You think Amazon's fast? Wait till I print you a template in 20 minutes.
Right.
You know, like,
Are you using 3D printed like accent parts or
you know, we've discussed it to the
or-
point where, like you said, the fasteners, like even fastener caps or
Yeah,
even
something
some
like
sort
that,
of
yeah.
caps. We've discussed it, but the problem I have with it is unless I'm casting it or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah,
telling
no.
somebody like, here's
That was
a
a
piece of
question of
plastic,
pure
you know,
ignorance, yeah.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, here's a piece of plastic I'm gonna stick on your desk. You know,
Now
like-
we do make a lot of like random holders and tooling and
Right.
like one-time use things because it's like we had a client that wanted this strange kind of frame at a very specific angle, and we're like, this is gonna be a pain in the ass to keep rigging up.
Yeah.
Right.
So he printed a piece that went right into the dog holes of the Siemens welding table, and
Yeah,
there you
just print
go.
a wedge,
There's your
you know,
angle.
you
Yeah.
make things very simple. It's the little things that you're like, wow, like you could actually make some
Right.
useful things. 'Cause people think, you know, it is plastic at the end of the day, but if you print it correctly and use
Right.
it proper way, it can be really versatile.
Like how he says this. Ask him how many fidgets and random things my daughter has off of that
I
printer.
print a lot of stupid things as well. Yes.
Is this a robot? Yes, it is
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Robots.
If I print something
Yes.
stupid, I'm like, it's for my niece, not for me.
I'm seeing our Instagram scrolling
Yes.
here every once in a while, and I don't ever sit down at my desk and really scroll through it anymore.
Right.
And as I see it, I'm like, this is like the stream of how his brain works, and this is really scary.
Yeah. If you would have seen our old Instagram and went really deep, then
Oh yeah, I think our old Instagram was like 1,500 posts, so that got real out of
it was
control.
1,000, and I had a weird thing about it. Every time I would post, I would delete an old one. I wanted to keep it at 1,000.
It was
it drove him nuts, and I think I just did it after
Because
a while.
once
to
a
continue to drive him
once a
nuts.
month we would get someone, congratulations on your 1,000th post. I'm like, yeah, for the 14th time this week.
Just wait till tomorrow. You'll see it again.
Yeah.
I literally just wanted to make like my own emoji, like he will see it again. it was bad.
So where do you see being the next evolution of your business?
You know, I think we're trying to find it, honestly. Like you said, like you guys mentioned, that the try system where you go to a more expandable system where it's more easily manufactured, where if we do decide and there's enough demand, where we always hope there's demand, that we can outsource it and get the same quality, you know, that'd be great. Obviously, we're realistic. We're two people. If you want to keep it up, we're going to get older, and at some point we ain't going to be able to keep up. So we have to diversify into something that's a little bit easier, a little bit more mass market, I guess I would say. But at the same time, we keep falling back into what we find is successful. So, you know, I guess trying to grow what we found works is probably the best way that we're looking at moving.
Like I'm looking at this picture right now going, that's the small table. I know because it doesn't fully fit on it. If you put it on our big table that we now have,
we had to
I
update
have
the
to
table
reach so
size, too.
far,
Or your
I
welding
feel like a little
table,
person.
Yeah.
The little one became a grinding table. Now there's a big one, but the fixturing and all that stuff, like we mentioned earlier, I mean, you can't That's why when people build this stuff, I'm like, more power to you. Because if
Yeah.
I didn't have the fixturing table to hold the weird stuff.
I'm sure there's a lot of welders out there that see that picture like, you're using that table for weld. I'm like, yeah, but when you need to hold something in the air above your head, you better trust it. Because back in the day, I would stand on the forklift and have that thing vertical.
Oh, I've sat on
grind.
top of a base and been grinding it with my head in the ceiling before. Yeah.
Our old place,
OSHA, like we said, right?
Our original shop, I
some
think.
different words. Oh,
They need to run a disclaimer. Disclaimer: if OSHA is listening, please turn off now.
Please turn off. You don't know where we're at.
This is a fictionalized story. None of this happened. No, but I mean, our old shop, I think there was one conference table where he was literally sitting on the roof rafters to weld up the top corner because we couldn't figure out how to get it at a good angle to weld it versus vertical, because otherwise it was just a nightmare. Like, you can't do it on the ground. You can't. Holding it at this angle was really dicey because it was heavy. So it was like, well, it's sturdy like this. Climb on up there. And a lot of our stuff, and I'm sure certain fabricators out there be like, there's no reason to do that. Like, all of our seams and everything are fully welded and ground. You know, we don't like to leave open areas.
Right.
So there's an artistic side to what we do, and kind of meshing that with the industrial side of it is kind of where we've excelled for the most part. But yeah, if you'd like to tell us the next trend in the
we're
world.
always looking.
No,
You a trendsetter?
I'm always on the. That's funny. You notice
That
the
is
beard.
really
The beard means it's a trend ender.
There you go.
It's gonna be like old timey barbershop mustaches.
So when it gets to you, that's when we know
it's officially dead. I left my skinny jeans at home.
thank God.
I'm at Christmas and this 20-year-old nephew of my wife's like skinny jeans. So I'm like, dude, respect your elders, man. Shit, I didn't realize it was 10 years late into the trend.
Right?
It's
You
like
never know.
friggin', it's like men's like yoga
Spandex,
pants. I didn't know that.
If I can, they have sweatpants that look like jeans. I'm all about them.
Hello, jeggings.
Yeah, you can't weld in them though. FYI,
There
doesn't
you
work
go.
well.
That's it.
Nylon blends, bad idea.
Yeah, he learned that one grinding the hard way. He walks up to me. He's got this burn mark just horizontal in his t-shirt. He's like, I think I should put on my apron.
No, it was worse when I lit the flannel on fire. And I'm like, I swore this flannel was cotton. It apparently was not.
That thing went up like a whip.
Just remember, kids, safety first.
100%. Yeah, don't. Well, yeah.
That's how you'll know.
Well, just for the home audience, 10 fingers on each of our
Yeah,
guests. So.
that's what I
it's a
said.
plus.
I'm always proud.
We
Straighten that
do
one
own a
out.
saw stop.
There you go.
Yeah, that was
see?
a great investment. We look at each other. We go, "Is it worth it?" I go, "It's cheaper than one trip to the hospital." We're like,
Yes.
done.
Yeah, if we could find death wheels that would cut themselves off before throwing things at you, whoever's on
Yeah,
that,
those cutting.
get moving. Those things are
Maybe
they're
the
called
next-
death wheels for a reason.
Maybe the next trend, instead of all your sharp angles, is your handlebar mustache look on the end.
Yo,
of the-
There you go.
See,
I just need a metal
I was
bender.
gonna ask where his high wheel.
Barbershops.
Where was his high wheel bike though?
Yeah. We used to
When we
have
see him at the
penny farthing,
Starbucks on the high wheel with the handlebar, it's all over.
the Danny
Yeah, the
Farthing.
penny farthing.
Yeah, there you go.
So do you do trade shows at all?
No. We used to do, when we first started, we did local markets and things like
Yeah.
that. And then from there, we've always had the outlook of like, should we do shows?
Yeah.
And I think we are just the people that like, we don't mind talking to people, but we're not the like stand there and smile at people and be like, hey guys, how's it going today?
Right.
Having a great day, as they walk past you and you're like, yeah, great.
Unfortunately,
you too, thanks. You know? Like,
Unfortunately,
Not
if we
us.
hang out too long, we're gonna say something wrong.
that is a valid statement.
That's
yeah.
another shirt.
But when we
Leave
stay too
before
long,
you make a bad statement.
Is that a good time to stop?
We're just gonna cut it here because that's all, folks.
You guys
Wait
both
up.
have. They both
Wait up.
have a
Jim has
shot
his list.
collar.
We have religion, politics. What
Oh,
else?
yeah,
we have?
they're not staying away from all of
Bigfoot.
that.
You jumped the Bigfoot category. No.
Yeah, there you you'll get him going, and I gotta walk out.
We're gonna say a series of words. Give us your first thought.
That's dangerous.
So this one's gonna have to be off.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a perfect ending. Thanks for joining us today. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review. Fabricator Podcast, available wherever you find your finest podcasts.
Only the finest.
There you go. I want to thank both Rob and Anthony for coming in today. Is there anything you'd like to promote? give out your handles for all your socials?
Instagram, iRcustoms with an S, since we
Sorry.
don't have custom.
You could have corrected me.
Hey, I think if you search it, you still get us. But iRcustom.com is the website, and basically iRcustom on every other platform too.
You can always find us there.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks for your time. It's been fun.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.